The Philippines is now at the threshold of a transformation in naval capability unmatched in its modern history. For the first time, the country is preparing to join the ranks of submarine operating nations, a move embedded within Horizon 3 of the Armed Forces of the Philippines Modernization Program. This final phase of the modernization effort, covering the years 2023 to 2028, allocates between 80 billion and 110 billion peso, roughly 1.4 to 1.9 billion USD, for the procurement of at least 2 diesel-electric submarines, along with the infrastructure, training and maintenance systems needed to sustain them. It is an ambitious leap for a navy that has long been confined to surface warfare and limited anti-submarine capabilities, and it signals an intent to fundamentally change the country's maritime deterrence posture. The rationale is straightforward but profound. As AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Brawner has pointed out, the Philippines is an archipelago. Defending hundreds of dispersed islands, shoals and sea lanes against a far more powerful adversary is impossible without the ability to operate unseen beneath the waves. In the South China Sea, where Philippine and Chinese ships routinely shadow each other, surface forces are always exposed, always trackable, and always vulnerable. Submarines alter that equation. They impose uncertainty, complicate adversary planning, and extend a country's strike range well beyond the horizon. In an era when maritime grey zone coercion is backed by the shadow of outright military confrontation, the ability to deploy a submarine and remain undetected is not just a tactical advantage, it is a strategic necessity. Several of the world's leading submarine builders have submitted offers tailored to Manila's needs. France's naval group has pitched its Scorpene-class submarines, a proven export design with modern sonar, weapons integration, and air-independent propulsion options. Their proposal goes beyond simply selling hardware. It includes building a dedicated submarine base at Subic Bay, training Filipino crews in France, and offering long-term financing to make the deal palatable within the Philippines' fiscal constraints. Spain's Navantia has countered with its larger S-80+ class design, also featuring advanced sensors and AIP, with an offer to base support and training infrastructure in Ormoc, Leyte. Hanwha Ocean of South Korea has proposed the KSS-III PN variant, boasting lithium-ion battery technology for extended submerged endurance, as well as the smaller but more affordable Ocean 1400 PN. Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, in cooperation with Italy's Fincantieri, has offered the U-212 near-future submarine with next-generation hydrogen fuel cell AIP, making it one of the quietest and most survivable designs in the world. Each package includes not just vessels, but the ecosystem required to operate them: shore-based simulators, maintenance yards, weapons storage, and deep-water berthing. The vendors are also dangling the prospect of technology transfer, industrial cooperation, and local employment in shipbuilding support, an important consideration for a government that wants defense spending to have domestic economic impact. Yet the timeline is long. Even if Manila signs a contract within Horizon 3, the first submarine would not be expected to arrive before 2029 at the earliest, with full operational capability potentially stretching into the early 2030s. This reflects the complexity of building, delivering, and integrating such platforms, as well as the years needed to train crews from scratch. Submarine operations are among the most demanding skills in naval warfare, requiring extensive shore-based instruction, as sea trials and live exercises before a navy can safely and effectively deploy these assets. In the interim, the Philippine Navy is working to build a credible anti-submarine warfare capability. The addition of the BRP Conrado Yap corvette, new frigates and incoming corvettes and offshore patrol vessels will provide the surface fleet with some degree of submarine detection and engagement potential. These assets, along with maritime patrol aircraft and helicopters, are vital not only for defending against hostile submarines, but also for creating the operational framework in which the Philippines' own submarines will one day operate. The feasibility of this submarine program hinges on three factors: financing discipline, institutional preparation, and political will. Submarines are expensive to acquire and even more costly to operate over their 30-plus-year service life. The Philippine defense budget, while increasing, is still modest compared to those of regional powers and will be under constant pressure from competing national priorities. Training pipelines, maintenance culture, and logistics systems must be developed in parallel with the boats themselves, or the investment risks becoming a hollow capability. Finally, political commitment must survive changes in administration. A program of this scale cannot be derailed by short-term shifts in leadership or budgetary politics. If these conditions are met, the impact on the Philippines' security environment will be profound. Even a small submarine force can create a disproportionate deterrent effect, forcing any adversary to commit significant resources to anti-submarine patrols, convoy protection, and intelligence gathering. In the South China Sea context, the mere possibility of an undetected Philippine submarine lying in wait changes the calculus for any power contemplating aggressive action near Philippine waters. It would also provide a flexible strategic tool for intelligence gathering, covert surveillance, and, if necessary, precision strike. Regionally, the Philippines' move towards submarine capability will be closely watched. Southeast Asia is already seeing a steady spread of undersea warfare assets. Vietnam operates Kilo-class submarines from Russia. Indonesia fields Type 209 boats from South Korea. Malaysia runs Scorpene-class vessels. Singapore deploys advanced Type 218 SGs from Germany. And Thailand is preparing to receive its first Chinese-built submarine. In this environment, the Philippines' entry into the club of submarine operators is as much about diplomatic positioning as it is about military balance. It signals that Manila is no longer content to be a passive observer of the undersea domain, and that it intends to be taken seriously as a maritime security actor. There is also a wider geopolitical dimension. The suppliers in contention, France, Spain, South Korea, Germany, and Italy, are all countries with which the Philippines is seeking to broaden defense ties, partly to reduce its historical over-reliance on the United States. The choice of supplier will thus send a clear political message, potentially deepening strategic relationships with Europe or Northeast Asia, depending on the outcome. The program also dovetails with growing defense cooperation with India, which in August 2025 discussed assisting Manila in developing submarine infrastructure. In this way, the submarine acquisition is both a military modernization effort and a tool of foreign policy realignment. Critics will point to the risks. Submarines are complex, high-maintenance platforms that require decades of sustained investment. They will not arrive in time to influence near-term confrontations in the South China Sea. The price tag, though modest compared to major naval powers, will consume a large share of the Philippines' modernization funds. And there is the question of whether a fleet of 2 to 3 boats can provide meaningful deterrence against a vastly larger Chinese Navy. But these concerns must be weighed against the strategic cost of doing nothing, of leaving the undersea battle space uncontested and allowing adversaries total freedom of maneuver below the surface. In the long view, this is a project about sovereignty and survival. Submarines are not purchased for peacetime parades. They are built for the day when a nation must defend itself in the most hostile of conditions. The Philippines' decision to pursue them is therefore not a luxury, but a necessity dictated by geography, geopolitics, and the changing character of maritime conflict. It is a bet that by the time the first boat slides into Philippine waters, the Navy will have the skills, the infrastructure, and the strategic discipline to use it well. For now, the work is in the planning rooms, the negotiation tables, and the training schools. But if the program stays on course, the next decade could see the Philippine flag flying not just on the surface of its seas, but deep beneath them. A quiet, unseen signal to friend and foe alike that the country's defense posture has entered a new era. If you value in-depth defense analysis and want to stay informed on every major development in Philippine military modernization, support the channel, follow, and subscribe to receive the latest updates on the nation's evolving defense capabilities.